Dark Film Festival. We have an event coming up, the Austin After Dark Film Festival, Fall 2022. And we'll be screening at the Austin Film Society Cinema all kinds of films that you can imagine, everything from dark animation to science fiction to dark fantasy films, horror comedy, even music videos, comedy series episodes. The theme is it's content that is intended for a mature audience. Coming up November the 7th, we are excited. And one of the directors who has a film in our festival, who is nominated, his film is nominated for the Best Experimental Film Award, is Dr. Lenny. Director. I just upgraded you. Director Lenny Gonzalez. Hey, Lenny, how are you?
Good, good. I'm gonna have to charge more, I think, for the doctor.
I know,
That,
man. I should start that instead of calling myself Director Michael Fair, just Doctor Fair. It just sounds cool.
yes, yeah, doctor,
I mean,
of course,
yeah.
of course.
See, you're aging yourself. I'm a Spies Like Us fan too. Nobody would get that.
Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah, we
So,
are. But
so Three
well, good. Yeah, it's a
Sisters.
pleasure to be on here. Yeah, thank you, and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about the film.
We're excited about Three Sisters, man. The judges are impressed with your work. Really like what you're doing here. It falls right into our After Dark theme. And I'm not going to give away the synopsis, which I usually do, and give away the ending and everything else. So I'm going to let you put it in your words. What is Three Sisters about?
Well, I guess it's about a whole bunch of different things. First and foremost, it's a labor of love on my side. But if I was to say a synopsis, it would be it's inspired by the 2019 Hong Kong protests. I
Mm.
was very moved by watching all the media coverage on that. And what I wanted to do was kind of take three archetypes that I saw involved in these protests: youth, middle age, and then of course old age, and have these characters interact, within the film. The outcome of what I thought was going to happen from these protests did not happen. It was also shot pre-pandemic, so there's a lot of really interesting things that power of hindsight crossed over to not only the pandemic that was about to hit us, but also kind of the outcome of the Hong Kong protests. So the symbology ended up kind of turning on its head in a strange way. But the power of experimental film, it still works, in my mind. So I'll have to see what you and the audience thinks as well. But yeah, that's it.
Well, you definitely left me with questions, and I don't go. I try not to go political in anything that we do, but the timing of COVID and the timing of the whole Hong Kong protests. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it coincidence, or you have an opinion, or are we just still looking for
Well,
answers here?
uh, I don't go political either, and this was kind of the first foray in many events. From directing the film, but also kind of really wanting to kind of express, some things on my side. Um, it's still experimental and non-narrative, so I don't think the casual viewer is going to be able to go, oh, this is about the Hong Kong, 2019 protests.
Hmm.
But unfortunate series of events of eventually how it concluded, and then the global pandemic thing that happened. I mean, it was just a rip roaring. I guess it was about 6 8 months or so there,
Hmm.
and everything just turned on its head. But we had a good time. We had a good time filming it. So you'll see somebody wearing a mask, and it had nothing to do with COVID. There's even an extinction symbol drawn on that mask, and again, it had nothing to do with COVID. It was representing the young protesters and the masks that they would be wearing, for the tear gas. Again, it just strange, very prophetic, and it's interesting how things turned out.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Interesting is one way of putting it. Yeah, it's
That's all I can. That's all I can put it. Given the time that
yeah,
we have. But what we could talk about
yeah.
it later, though. Yeah.
Definitely a different place in 3 years. And honestly, I'll never really know. I guess we won't. I mean, I guess you'd have to like really sit down with someone who has been in Hong Kong for the last 10 years to really explain how it all went down. But very interesting to say the least. And then I love touching on thought-provoking topics like this, and to use this as a backdrop for your story is pretty cool. Especially, masks just were not a thing in this country. They've always been a thing
Yeah.
in Asian countries,
Yeah.
for expression and for health reasons too. I mean, you see, I went to Singapore in 2017, and there were people in the airport with masks, and we were kind of like looking around. Me and my wife were there for an anniversary, and we're looking around like, should we be
This
wearing one of these?
is something we don't know about. Well, I have to, ask, if, or at least put this out there, if COVID really never happened. My view of the mask was always, and what I would see in the media of the populace wearing surgical masks. So to me at the time, it was a very obvious reference. And then of course, what I was seeing in the media of the protest itself, it just made sense, But then
Sure.
little did I know,
Mhm.
a couple of months later, everybody would have a different interpretation of a surgical mask.
Is there anything you learned during the process of making this that you can remember? You
Where do I
laugh. I
begin?
know there's
Where
got.
do
It's
I
like every one of
begin?
these films is film school. Tell me, what did you learn?
Yeah, where do I begin? Well, again, this was my first foray into filmmaking. I ended up just growing impatient, waiting for a scoring gig. My background is music and composition, amongst other things, but started waiting for another scoring gig. So ended up taking a class, the local Austin Film School here. Shout out to them. And learned how to shoot on a Super 8mm camera. Developed my own film. It was extremely DIY. The most immediate thing is that, and of course, this is personally speaking. Of course, I can't rely on my uh, cinematography, and I wouldn't even call it cinematography, but my aesthetic to carry a film, even an experimental film. It needs to have some resemblance of a story, if not a script, just to kind of map things out. I did not have any of those, and went into it very much like we would like a performance art piece, and just captured that. The second most obvious thing is, I need minions, or at least an assistant or two, to help out, arranging the lights and some of the props, and it just took a lot. And then by the time everything is set up, it's like, oh, now we actually have to shoot the film here.
Hmm.
So it's been interesting, and I'm anxious to take what I've learned and apply it to some new work. So we'll have to see if I learned any really good lessons there.
All right. Well, what you got in the future? What's going on next?
Um, I'm absolutely in love with the analog, medium of things. So I'm going to continue. Wrote a short script about it's going to be a space opera. Silent. Going to shoot it on Super 8 again. Already started shooting some of the scenes. And interesting enough, I'm going to be working with my same collaborator, who was on the Three Sisters film. Big shout out to Kelly Hassandras, a local choreographer, dancer here in Austin. We're going to be collaborating again. But the scope, it's going to be a lot more ambitious on my side, and I'm already thinking this is going to take longer than I had originally thought. But really looking forward to that piece coming out, and again, I'll also be doing the music for that as well. So.
Wow, look at you. All right. Good stuff. You got some things planned.
Yeah, always. I'm really, like I said, I'm really hooked on the medium. It really combines a lot of my interests, certainly in cinema itself, but the music side of things and being able to combine the two, and the moving image, accompanied with sound or music, it's just amazing. It really it just feels like I've kind of arrived at what I want to do. It's taken a
Sure.
long time, but here we are.
Here we are. Well, hey, I appreciate your time today and being transparent about this whole process. Great film. We look forward to seeing it on screen. I know it's screened at many prestigious festivals, Austin of the Stars and South by and some other places. I mean, you've really done well with this, and we're excited to screen it. So
Thank you very much.
And I look forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah. Just want to also take the opportunity to thank you for the opportunity to talk about the film, here today.
Thank
And
you.
also, big shout out to the judges, for After Dark. It's really a privilege to be part of the festival and part of what I expect to be some really great films. Anxious and looking forward to checking everything out.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Well, good luck. We'll see you soon. And
Indeed.
again, thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good